Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video I'm going to talk about team building. I already started this series around mid-October, I think, and I made videos on teams for the yellow and purple DPS units. So in theory, in this one I should be covering red element DPS units, but while I was preparing the video, I kind of thought to myself that most of this information could have been made available directly on the spreadsheet. So I got to work and I prepared the two columns you're seeing here on the screen. They've not been added to the main spreadsheet yet. These are just on a side one I use just to test layouts and make changes. So you will only see them in this video right now. I'm recording this video to collect feedback on these columns that I prepared today, just to understand from you if they're clear, if you would add anything, if you would remove anything because maybe it's not needed. So whatever you are thinking about, also changes to the layout, let me know. I will definitely think about them and make the necessary adjustments. And afterwards, I will make it public on the main spreadsheet. I will not be filling all the information for every single unit immediately. I'd say it doesn't really make sense. It's a lot of work and it would take me forever. I will definitely focus on the DPS units that are the units that you normally want to build a team around. So it kind of makes more sense. And for units that, like Vicente here that you see on the screen, have relevance not applicable, I will just either directly skip them or leave them for last because they are units you wouldn't want to use anyway. So that's kind of the logic. Now, in terms of the columns that I decided to add, the one on the left is called key teammates or tips. The reason why there is an or there is because for some units, like for example, supports, is not always simple or easy to define key teammates because they might just be useful for so many units. There is not a best use case. For example, Anniversary Iwa, I cannot provide key teammates. She's a key teammates for others, but she doesn't have any, let's say. So in that scenario, I would just provide you with tips as to when you would want to use that support or that unit, in which scenarios she shines, in which scenarios she's not that good. So that's the kind of information you will see in that case. For DPS units, though, I will mainly provide the supports that work best with them. I put as a limit 5, as you can see here from the number of columns. There are just 5 of them. I think I could be increasing it, but again, let me know. In the comments is not a big deal. I can just add a column in the middle, so technically it's not an issue. Just let me know if you think it makes sense to have a list of like 6, 7, 8 units. I think it's a bit too much. But yeah, whatever. So in here, you will find on the left 2 questions. The first one is, what does this unit provide to the team? And the second one is, what does this unit need from the team? So for the first question, I would just try to explain why this unit is good for the team. So what do they have? If they have resistance decrease, defense decrease, swiftness decrease, increase in survivability for the team, invincibility, or increase in damage, attack buffs, whatever the case, I will just try to explain it there. And in the case of Viol, as we can see here, this guy is a damage dealer. It doesn't really provide anything to the team. He has an AoE stun, but is so like not relevant, I'd say, in the grand scheme of things that I didn't list it. This guy is a DPS, so what does he provide? He provides good damage to the team. And I also specified where this damage is coming from because this is a really important piece of information when you're building the team around him. And in Viol's case, most of his damage is coming from active skill and basic attacks. It used to be only active skill, but after they buffed his basic attacks, they are quite good. So yeah, this is just information that you will find in general for DPS. There might be some more, like for example, an Alice could also have listed that she counters healers because she has an active skill that blocks enemies when they cast healing skills. So that's also an additional information I can write. I'm wondering how I can fit all of that in that small cell, but whatever I think about it. And yeah, this is, again, the kind of information that you will see here. For the second question, what does this unit need from the team? This is kind of based on what they're lacking in their kit. If they would like to receive, like in Viol's case, crit rate buffs that are extremely important because he's a ranged unit. It doesn't have crit rate in the subnodes. It doesn't have crit rate anywhere in the like revolution next to the equipment, nowhere. So it definitely wants some. It definitely also works well with crit damage and attack speed. I could have added magic pierce because there are some units that provide the magic pierce buff, but they're so like limited, it doesn't really make too much sense, so I didn't. But then I added magic resistance decrease and defense decrease on the enemies are great to increase his damage. Maybe I could just remove some parts of the sentence that are unnecessary, like are great to increase his damage. I don't know. I could have wrote it somewhere, like in some other way, but I will think about it and make it as lean and clean as possible. And then I also added the grouping would be great because his active skill deals AoE damage. And I also added information that his passive requires red element allies. So that's an additional piece of information. With this, I kind of then defined some units that work really well with him because we already know that active skills are important. So obviously, Albelda is there. She has an active skill cooldown reset. Basically, it's 20-second decrease on the Evolution 5. And Albelda also provides really good attack buff. Is not listed here, but definitely attack buffs work really well. I should have added probably what Viol scales off of. So it scales off of attack. Other units might scale off of the enemy max HP, whatever. So that's an information I should be adding probably. And Albelda is really, really strong. She also provides an increase in survivability, but I didn't list it as a need in the previous question because Viol already has a 10-second invincibility, which is quite good. But yeah, definitely Albelda, amazing support. Yellowy is also an amazing one because she provides the crit rate, crit damage, and attack speed buffs, and all of them are extremely important for Viol. So really, really great. And then the other two are just 003, not really the best. And we also have the new Anax, Spearbearer Anak, for the HP recovery block, defense red, swiftness decrease on the enemy, etc., etc. Pretty solid. But yeah, here are just some icons of the units. Don't take them for like the definitive one. I will definitely make some changes here and there. This is just to show you an example. And here in the description, I just, again, wrote what I briefly explained a second ago. So I said, Viola has good AoE active skill, has a good AoE active skill. It has second invincibility and solid basic attacks too. Yellowy is great boost to his damage. No, okay, I just read it wrong. Yellowy is great to boost his damage. All three of her buffs are of use to Viol. Albelda with Revolution 5 is the best pair for him, as it will further improve Viol's damage and survivability. Then I wrote, he doesn't need energy as he cannot spam his special move as he pleases, but can use it only once every 20 seconds. And this is more of a information as to why a unit like Princess Anak is not there, because we don't really care if Viol is getting energy or not. It will always have max energy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, this is just an extract of what I could be writing, so we'll focus on the units that I'm recommending, saying why they're good, and then also providing some more context as to what are the strengths of Viol, what are not needed, because he already has enough or he doesn't really benefit from a specific thing. I will try to add that kind of information in this section here. And then we have the last column, the team comp example column. Here, obviously, I couldn't really showcase an indefinite amount of team comps. I had to focus on two. And the way I structured it was that the first one, so the comp above, as we can see here from this text box, the comp above is mono element. I will try not to use units you might not have. What does it mean? If I'm not looking at a collab unit, I won't be including collab units. So if I'm looking at Egene, it's fine to add 002, 003, or Alice. It's fine. They are collab units. If you're looking for a team for Egene, chances are you have them. If we're looking at Viol, I will not be adding Egene in the team comp above because I'm like just considering no collab units for non-collab DPS units. And I'm also not taking into account the data tower units because you might be watching this video in a month from now and we don't have Spear Baronak anymore. So you might not be getting her, and I cannot really safely include her in the first comp. This I just wanted to be sort of a trial comp. So there are no restrictions in terms of units that are highly contested or in high demand. Like for example, Abelda, as you can see, she's present in that comp because I'm assuming this is a comp for trial or okay mono element team. The second comp will just have no limitations on the units that I can pick from. The only limitation will be that they don't have to be high demand units. Well, they can be, but not more than one or at best two. So in this case, as a high demand unit, we only have Albelda, so I thought it was fine to include her. But if we had, for example, also Anniversary Iwa, I would only pick one of the two. I would only add either Albelda or Anniversary Iwa because it's really too much to add all of those like super important units in the same team. Or for example, also a Princess Anak plus Albelda, it would be a bit too much, so I will not do that. Which means neither of these comps will be the best possible comps. These are just some ideas to show you which kind of compositions you could do, and also trying to position the units in a certain way if applicable. So for example, BAM, I will pay attention to where he's positioned because it will give energy based on his positioning, or other units that might be attacking based on position or whatever. I will try to place them accordingly. So yeah, that's kind of the idea for this section. And for the example of Viol, we have Yellowy, which again is a great buff. She's in the front line because I don't give a shit if she dies or not. She's just there to provide that passive buff, and then she can be dead. We have Viol in the back line linked to Albelda. Pretty simple and straightforward setup, I'd say. He could be in the front line as well, but in that case, Viol would be in the middle and Albelda in one of the two sides. Never put Albelda in the middle because then you don't really have control on who she's linking to. Just an additional piece of information. Then in the front line, we just have a generic tank. The only one available is Awakened Rock. We don't really have any other one that really benefit Viol that much. I don't like Awakened Rock because of his like remove from battle rock skill. I don't really like it. It's kind of removing most of your, not most of your damage, but kind of distracting your DPS unit. Still, it's probably the best option that we had here, so I added him. And then we have just the generic Cyaxia because I couldn't really use any better options, but she's okay, she's acceptable. For the second comp, is still a mono red team because Viol, as written here, has a really good passive that gives him 12 swiftness every single red element ally you have. So you definitely want to add as many as you can. And in here, instead of a weakened rock, there is Ejin. He's way better. He has HP recovery block, energy decrease, a lot of AoE damage, and good crowd control. So he's a really good unit, and his survivability is amazing. Then we also have the Spear Baronak. Not 100% sure about her, but again, this is just a video more to explain to you what would be the format and the kind of information available, and just to collect feedback. So it doesn't really matter. I don't think I would place her necessarily. She kind of has some stuff that is overlapping with Ejin, but also a lot of things that Ejin doesn't have, like the defense shred, the swiftness decrease on the enemies that is also really good. So she's a really solid unit. I don't know if I would use her with Viol, but it's okay. Still really, really solid. Yeah, guys, this is more or less what I prepared for now. Let me know what you think about it, what it should be changing. If there are more questions that I could be asking and I can just add more columns for that, no problem. Just let me know everything that could make sense to you, and I will definitely take that into account. I don't know why I had the game open here on the side, maybe just to showcase something, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense here. And yeah, obviously during the video when I do the like yellow DPS, team building, whatever, I will definitely also use here the arena simulation just to show some team compositions. But since this video was only about the spreadsheet information, it doesn't really make that much sense. So yeah, that's more or less it, guys. Again, looking forward to your feedback, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.